I don't hate Far Cry franchise. In fact, the first time I played that game, it was a 2014's Far Cry 4. And I thought it was okay. It wasn't spectacular. It wasn't mind blowing. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's the greatest thing of all time. And it did have multiple endings, you know. I didn't play all of them. I only played one multiple. I only had that one ending, and that was pretty much it. And the story, it was okay. It wasn't awesome. It wasn't bad. Far Cry 5, it was oh my goodness. It was controversial. And not only that, you had a silent protagonist. You take on a role of a sheriff's deputy who becomes entangled in violent conflict between Doomsday cult called Eden's Gate, led by Father Joseph Seed and his siblings, and the resisting residents of Hope County that who have seen their friends and family taken or killed by the cult. The game was released in May. No, it was announced in May and it was released March 27, 2018 worldwide. I was very disappointed with that game. I mean, the game was buggy and glitchy, and I could not wait to get rid of that game. Even though I rented it, I just could not wait to beat the game and get rid of it. And I did play Far Cry New Dawn, which it came out 2 years ago. I thought it was an improvement. It took me 24 hours to complete it, but still, it still wasn't enough. Still wasn't enough. And I did play Far Cry 3 last year during the pandemic. I think I got it on the PlayStation Store for like between $5 or $10, whatever. This is where everybody loves Far Cry 3 because of the villain and things in that nature. I thought Far Cry 3 was boring. It did not excite me any way, stretch imagination. It was just blah, boring. And I said to myself, Far Cry really needs to go back to the drawing board. They need to stop releasing games every single year. That's what it feels like to me. Then I'm looking at it in wikipedia.org and I realize, wait a minute, it don't come out every single year. It comes out every other year or every 2 years or something like that. And I'm like, why is their story is so between meh to bad? I don't understand it. Then you have the protagonist, it's not interesting. Do not get me started with Far Cry 5 and New Dawn where it's a silent protagonist. You know what I'm saying? I mean, unless he's Snake Eyes, that's one thing. But it's no excuse. Now, you can read the rest of the stuff in wikipedia.org, and I'll read you parts of it. Far Cry games have generally been well received for their open world gameplay despite their stories receiving mixed reviews, as being nice, and consider commercial successes. Ubisoft reports that through 2014, the lifetime sales of Far Cry franchise exceeded 20 million units. Okay. So, now you have Far Cry 6. It was supposed to come out early this year, but they pushed it back. They delayed it due to the global pandemic. And they want to work on the game. And this time it's going to be set on the fictional island of Yarda, loosely based on a modern day Cuba. So the story is not being taken place in a western parts of the world or a set or a modern day state in America like Montana and fictional Hope County like in Far Cry 5. It is being ruled by fascist dictator Anton Castillo, who seeks to bring his son Diego to be his heir, meant to the revolutionary uprising by freedom fighters. The game is scheduled for release on October 7th of this year. I wasn't interested in this game at all. I'm like, okay, this game's going to suck. It's going to be nothing more than the same. Then I look at the gameplay and the reveal trailer, and then the protagonist. I'm just like, okay, You got my attention. The fact that you can see your character in third person view in certain situations, I'm like, okay, okay. And you got of course, you get a thanks for hire or amigos for hire. You get like a little wiener dog for you. You can use it for stealth, I guess. And you get a pet crocodile. I'm like, it's about time. If I have to play a Far Cry game where I'm killing alligators or just running away from it because they're trying to kill me, I'm gonna lose my mind. I mean, this is a game where I read an article somewhere where it gained a quote unquote controversy because of Giancarlo Esposito isn't really a Latino. He's in real life he's black and half Italian. Who knew? So whatever. Hopefully, Far Cry 6 turns out to be a good game. I'm rooting for that game to be good, but because it's Ubisoft, anything can happen. Anything can happen. Now, as far as Transformers, I did talk about the fan base in my first ever quadruple shot rant video, Volume 1. The links will be in the description. You can watch it and hear it for yourself. The franchise begun in 1984 with the Transformers toy line. And it was produced in American toy company, Hasbro, and Japanese toy company, Takara Tomy. It follows the battle of sentient living autonomous robots, often the Autobots and Decepticons, who can transform into other forms, such as vehicles and animals. And the franchise encompasses toys, animation, comic books, video games, and films. As of 2011, it generated more than 2 trillion yen, I'm not sure, or $25 billion in revenue, made one of the highest grossing media franchises of all time. I'll give you my top 3 cartoons / anime series of all time for Transformers: Beast Wars, Armada, and Cybertron. My honorable mention is the 2001's Transformers Robots in Disguise. It used to come on Fox Kids when it was around during those times, during those days. In fact, I recorded Transformers Armada, the entire series, on a VHS empty tape, blank tape, excuse me. And my little brother and I still watch it till this day. Yes, sir, we do. Now, the 2 worst Transformers, I would have to say Energon and Beast Machines. Man, they were terrible. Good God Almighty, it was terrible. Now, as far as movies go, it's a little update. The 2 best live action movies, and it's saying a lot. Transformers 2007, I saw it in theaters about 14 years ago with my brother-in-law, my sister, and the kids, and my little brother. We were visiting. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't great, but it was good. And then we saw what happened with the rest of them, including Revenge of the Fallen. Please, I don't want to talk about that. Please don't make me talk about that. And last but not least, Bumblebee. I watched it twice. One on television, which is on FX, I think it was, and Amazon Prime Video a year ago. And I think they're supposed to make a sequel out of that movie. I hope so. I hope so. But as far as video games, they really need to stop making them because they're awful. Transformers War for Cybertron was terrible. Fall of Cybertron was terrible, especially with the multiplayer. Just stop. It's awful. And I have some novelty books that I'm still reading or I've already read. I think I have at least about 2 to 3 of them. So I'm looking for more. Like I said, when it comes to toys, I have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, G.I. Joe, and Transformers toys. I have more of those toys than Transformers combined, but they're very different than the rest because you could do so much more with them. You can make them as an action figure, you can make them as a vehicle or animal or a life form, whatever you want. And I love their toys. I really do. And I hope they don't stop making them. I hope they just continue to make them until they can't make them anymore. So, and with that, throwing y'all a salute. I know I've been dragging on too long. What's your thoughts on Far Cry and Transformers? And I'm out.